Hello students, welcome to part 14 of how to program the video game Dog's Dinner using Scratch. The game won't be complete until you've added some instructions and other messages for the player. You can also load some music into it to make it even more interesting. Okay, so from the sprites list, let's paint a new sprite. So let's click on the paintbrush, paint a new sprite, okay? And then it should go to the costumes tab. So if not, click on the costumes tab. So for costume 1, we want to name it in the top left hand corner here. We want to name it instructions. Instructions. Okay? Then we want to add a new costume. So click on the paintbrush, paint a new costume. And then for costume, for the second costume, we want to name it win. And then let's click on the paintbrush again, paint a new costume. And for the third costume, we want to name it lose. Okay? So let's click on the costume 1 instructions. So we're going to be using the text tool. So let's click on the text tool. We want to make sure that we want to set our font color to be black. And then you can choose the font style that you want. Okay? Okay, so near the top left-hand corner, let's click once to activate the text box. And then you should probably press the caps lock key on your keyboard. So I'm going to press caps lock. And for this text box, I want to type in Dog's Dinner. So that's the title of the game. And then let's click outside of that text box once you've typed it in, and it should give us the control points. And what I want to do is I want to shrink that text down. And then I can position it also. Okay, I can move it around, make sure you've got it in a good spot. And then if you click outside of it, it should be locked into place. All right, so I've got the text box again. So I've clicked outside, so I've activated another text box. So these are going to be some instructions. So I'm going to type move, colon, sorry, and then arrow keys. So that's the instruction that you can move around with your arrow keys. And then I'm going to hit enter to drop down to the next line. And I'm going to type in jump and then colon and then space key. So I'm going to click outside of that text box to get the control points. I'm going to shrink it down and I want the text size, the font size, to be approximately the same as your first text box. And then I want you to move it into the top right hand corner, towards the top right hand corner. Okay, so let's click again outside of that to activate a third text box. And then we're going to type in some more instructions here. So collect all bones and then hit enter to open portal to and then hit enter. Next level. Collect all bones to open portal to next level. And then click outside of that text box to activate the control points. And then I'm going to shrink it down to have the same, roughly the same text size. And I'm going to move it towards the bottom left hand corner here. Okay? All right, one more text box. So let's click anywhere out in the paint editor. And then here we go. Dog does not like, and then hit enter, junk food, exclamation mark. Don't worry if your text box goes outside of the paint editor, we're going to move it anyway. So dog does not like, enter, junk food. Click outside of the text box. Let's get the control points and let's shrink it down. And then let's move it onto the screen and roughly in this spot here. Okay? All right. So now that we're finished that, let's click on costume 2, the win costume. Click on the text box, click in the middle of your screen, and you've still got caps lock on, so let's type in you win and a couple of exclamation points. Click outside of that text box, and let's make this message really, really large. Okay, let's stretch it out as far as I can, and I might even stretch it horizontally, vertically as well to make it kind of tall. Okay, and then I want to position it in the center of my paint editor. Okay, and then let's click on the lose costume. Click on the text box. Click near the middle of the screen, and I want you to type in ARG. And then hit enter, and then type in junk food. Okay, and then use your space key to kind of center junk food under the line ARG. Then click outside, and let's stretch out this text box. Make it really large. Okay, and then make sure you center it in the middle of the paint editor. Okay, all right, so let's go up to File, Save. Okay, so let's create some scripts for these 3 costumes. So let's click on Scripts. Okay, all right, so let's start with the events blocks. So when the green flag is clicked, let's go to the Looks blocks, and let's switch costume. Switch costume to, and of course, when we start the game, the costume we want to load is instructions. That's what we want to show at the beginning of the game. We'll go to motion, and we'll go to XY. Go to XY. Now we always want to position that in the center of the screen, so the X value will be 0 and the Y value will be 0. Click on the looks block, and let's go to front. We want those instructions to appear in front of all other sprites, and then we want to show those instructions. Okay, let's go to the control blocks, and let's grab a wait until block. Wait until, and then we'll click on the sensing blocks, and we'll wait until it is touched by the player block. So the instructions will appear until your dog runs over the instructions, and then they'll disappear. So then we have to go to looks, and we have to grab the hide button. Okay? So the instructions will vanish once the player sprite runs over them. Okay, so let's create 2 small scripts, additional scripts. So let's go to the events blocks, and let's grab 2 when I receive headers. Okay? So the first one, when I receive the message, win, we'll go to the looks blocks, and we'll switch costume to the win costume, and we want to go to front. We want it to appear in front of all other sprites, and we want to show it. So that's the message when we win. So now the next script, when I receive the message game over, we're going to switch costume. We're going to switch costume to lose, okay? To the lose screen. We want to go to front, and we want to show it. Okay? All right. So let's check the position of the instructions. So when we run the game, okay, so the problem appears is that when I run the game, the dog is already running over the instructions. Okay, so we can change the position of where those instructions are, or where the title is. So if I click on Sprite 1, okay, and then I go to the costumes, so the problem is that the dog appears right where the title is. So if I drag a box around that, I should be able to move it. Okay, so I'm going to move the title down so that the dog doesn't run over it right away. So now let's test that again. Okay. All right, so let me press stop. Let me press OK. All right, so the dog is still running over the instructions. So let me grab this and let's pull it down. Okay, so let's see if that's going to fix it. So there definitely seems to be a problem here. It's not adjusting where I've got the title. So let me try something else here. So let me just move this. So let's say if I move it way down here. Will that make a difference? Let's go to File, Save. Okay, so again, for some reason, my changes are not being reflected on my screen here. So again, what you want to check is you want to make sure that your instructions don't overlap any of the images on your first screen. So hopefully you're able to move these instructions around so they don't overlap any objects on the screen. Okay? Okay, so now let's add some music. So I'm going to click on the game control sprite, and I'm going to go to scripts. Okay, all right, so let's go to sounds, and we're going to load 3 new sounds. So let's go choose a sound from library. All right, we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look for Xylo 2. So where is that? Xylo 2, and then we're going to click OK. And then let's load a new sound, choose a sound from library, and let's scroll down, and let's go Xylo 3, click OK, and then let's do it one more time, choose a sound from library, and let's go down to Xylo 4. Let's find Xylo 4, and then click OK. Okay? All right, so let's go back to scripts. Okay? Make sure that we are on the game control sprite. All right, so let's create a secondary script here. So let's go to events, and let's go when the green flag is clicked, and then we'll go to control, and we'll grab 3 repeat loops, okay? Repeat until loops. So repeat until, and then we'll grab a second one, place it underneath, and then a third one, repeat until, okay? All right, let's go to the operators blocks, and let's click on the equal sign. Let's bring that in the top arm, and let's grab a second one and then a third one for all 3 repeat until loops. Okay? All right, let's go to the data blocks. Okay? And then let's grab a level block and place it on the left-hand side of the equal sign, and let's do that for all 3 equal blocks here. Okay? Repeat until level, level, level. Okay, so let's manually type in here level 2, not level 1, but level 2, and then let's go to level 3, and then let's go to level 4. Okay? All right, let's go to the sounds blocks, and let's grab the play sound until done. Okay, play sound until done goes in the first repeat until loop, and let's grab a second one in the second loop, and then a third one for the third loop. Okay, so in the first loop, we want to play Xylo 2. In the second loop here, we want to play Xylo 3. And in the third loop, we want to play Xylo 4. Okay, Xylo 4. Okay? Okay, so we're going to add a few more scripts to finally finish the game. Okay, so let's go to events. And let's grab 2 when I receive headers. Okay, so we'll build these scripts at the same time here. So the first one is when I receive the message start, and then for the second one, it's going to be when I receive the message win. Okay, so let's go back to this one. When I receive the message start, we're going to go to sound, we're going to go to the sounds block, and then we're going to stop all sounds. So when the game begins, okay, there's going to be no sound playing, except we're going to now play a new sound. Okay, play sound, and then what we want to do is we want to go to the sounds tab, and we want to load an additional sound. So choose a sound from library, and then I want you to scroll down and look for space ripple. Space ripple. So here it is, space ripple. You can hear it. Okay, click OK. So that sound is going to play when the game begins. Okay, so let's go back to scripts, and then let's choose that new sound that we loaded, space ripple. Okay, so in the last script here, when I receive the message win, when I receive the win message, we're going to stop all sounds. Okay, all other sounds are going to be stopped. And then we're going to play a new sound. So we're going to play sound, and then let's load another sound. So let's go to the sounds tab. Let's click on choose sound from library, and then let's scroll down and look for the triumph sound. Triumph. Triumph means victory. So if you want to hear it, preview it. Sounds great. Click OK. Let's go back to the scripts tab, and then let's load that sound. Play sound, and then triumph. Okay, so let's go to File, Save. So now the funnest, most enjoyable part of the game of your project begins. You get to play your game over and over and over, tweaking it, debugging it, making sure that all those sounds play, all the instructions play, all the messages play when you win, when you lose, when you start the game. Okay, really take a lot of time to test your game over and over and over again. When you've got your game perfected, then please call Mr. Ueda over and then you can show him your game. So this concludes this massive video game project, Dog's Dinner. Thanks for watching and fantastic work. Bye.